After 8 o'clock this morning, it's 19 past 7 now. Well, does this sound familiar? Oh, a bit irritating, isn't it? That's tinnitus. It's the ringing in your ears that affects 1 in 5 Australians. But now there's new hope for sufferers, and this is what it sounds like. Much nicer. Well, the woman behind it, Rafaele Joudry, joins me now. And Rafaele, tinnitus, 1 in 5 Australians. What exactly causes it?
Well, the major cause of tinnitus, Lisa, is noise, cumulative noise damage. Sometimes people are unlucky and one event can bring on tinnitus, but usually that's the end of years of being bombarded by loud noise, whether that's in industry or through listening to music too loud. All of these things can cause tinnitus.
And with so many kids in particular now having, you know, all sorts of iPods and iPhone systems in their ears, you can only imagine it's going to get worse. And it's always been said that there's no cure for it, but you say otherwise.
Well, that's right. Traditionally, people have been told by their doctors there's no cure, you just have to learn to live with it. And that's a terrible situation for someone to be in, to think, I'm going to be listening to this for the rest of my life. But a lot of research has happened on tinnitus in the last couple of decades, and we do now have a treatment which has helped a great many people.
Can you explain to us exactly what part of the ear this all happens in and where the therapy comes in?
Yes, OK. Well, let me explain a little bit about how the ear works. So we see this part of the ear, but there's so much complexity that goes on in the inner chambers of the ear, which is actually behind the eye where it's located in the head. It's a tiny little area. And when noise comes in, it hits the eardrum, which is this part here, and sets that into vibration. And then the sound goes through into the middle ear, which is an air-filled chamber behind the eardrum. And in the middle ear, there are 3 little bones and 2 muscles, which play an active part in tuning the ear and protecting the ear as the sound comes through. Then the conversion from vibration into electrochemical impulse happens in the inner ear, which is this part here. It's a spiral-shaped chamber, and that's where the little hair cells are. And damage can occur to various parts of the ear through too much cumulative noise damage.
So how does sound therapy help? And we've just heard classical music there, so you need to explain the correlation.
Yes. Well, you see, some types of noise are damaging for the ear and some types are beneficial. Loud noise is always damaging, and when it goes through the ear and causes damage, then what happens is we get a repetitive signal going on in the brain, and it's really... That was it again. It's really in the brain that sound therapy is working, because that repetitive noise that you get in the brain, that tinnitus noise, it's similar to chronic pain where there's been an injury, the injury heals, but the pain keeps on going. And this has always been a mystery for medicine, just as tinnitus has been. But now we know the brain is plastic, meaning the brain can change. We can rebuild the brain connections, and we can change and improve the way the brain is working at any stage of life.
So where does the classical music come in?
Well, you see, the brain responds to stimulation. If we're going to rebuild and remap the brain pathways, we need a stimulus that's going to help the brain to do that. And if we're looking at the auditory system, classical music with the special filtering process that we use for sound therapy is very effective at doing that. We use classical music as the basis of it because that has complex rhythms and harmonies and melodies which are very beneficial in waking up many parts of the brain. But then we put it through a filtering algorithm which is much more stimulating for both the mechanisms of the ear and the auditory pathways. So it's actually recreating a normal map for our hearing, and that enables the brain to let go of that repetitive tinnitus noise.
By the sounds of things, it's going to be enormous relief for a lot of Australians. That's very good news, Rafaele. Thank you very much for that. And if you would like more info on sound therapy, you can go to their website, soundtherapy.com.au. Carl?
By the